Brothers, recently I've been in a situation where I can't really I can't really find any friends, I don't really have friends as of recently, as of this school year pretty much. I don't really have any friends because I've changed my mindset like so drastically in these past like 2 years or so that my mindset's like completely different. I feel like from like most people that I used to hang out with at school and that I've met, that like I pretty much just like all of relationships just like kind of faded away, and I'm like left with no friends at this point. And I took time to reflect upon that today, and it reminded me of a situation that I had 2 years ago. It wasn't like word by word, but it was pretty similar in where I moved from a school to a different one in the beginning of freshman year. And I was surrounded by a new environment, new people, and I had a different mindset than like all of them pretty much, where I was so outgoing and I was so loud and stuff, and all the people that I knew in my older school were also kind of the same way. But then I come to this school and everyone just seemed kind of more like onto themselves, and I really didn't know how to adapt to that, and I took me a long time, and I pretty much had all my friends. I pretty much have like no friends for like a year straight due to the fact that I found a group of friends of that I could hang out with them in my classes, but it didn't really last very long because we just didn't like connect like that. We didn't have the same mindset. We didn't have the same personalities, and I pretty much got left in the dust for around 6 months to a year. And it was probably one of the hardest times of my life. I moved into a new school. I had literally no connections to anyone. I didn't trust anyone because I had no one to talk to. I really felt lost, and I really debated on like what do I even do from here. Like I thought I lost it all. I thought I lost everything. I had no more friends. All my close friends from back then I don't see anymore because I don't live anywhere near close to them. I don't have anyone anymore. I have nothing. Like I just have myself, and I thought I lost what was most important in my life. The people that I took with me on this life, and I genuinely thought that. And nowadays, I'm going through a similar situation. However, I do think that this time, after what I've went through, what I thought back then was a loss, I look at it now. I'm going through a similar situation, and that's when I took the time to realize I was like, damn, yeah, dude, like everything you lose in your life, everything you lose, right? Everything you lose, there's no loss. There's nothing to be lost here. Even though I lost all my friends, even though I had no one I could trust, even though I had no one I could talk to, I still took something out of it. I still won. Even though I lost something very important to me, which was relationships and connections with people, I still won something. I still learned a lesson. I still learned that was pretty much what sparked me. That was what sparked me to become the person I am today. That was what sparked me to change my mindset into who I am today. That's the reason I'm pretty much making this video. If I didn't lose all my friends back then, I probably wouldn't even have started this channel. Probably would have been hanging out with the mediocre people, just like just being a mediocre man, just being an ordinary guy, not trying to achieve anything extra in life, just trying to live life and just live a normal life, a life of just stagnation, of silence, if I never lost all those friends back then when I moved, I would have never started this channel. Would have never started to try and do like other things that no one in this fucking planet wants to do. So even though I lost it all back then, I thought I lost it all, I still learned a lesson of it. I still gained something from it. Dude, I have gained astronomical levels of more like value from losing all those friends than if I would have stayed with them. I gained astronomical levels of more things, more knowledge, a bigger I'm going to the gym. If I stayed with them back then, I don't see any of them going to the gym. If I stayed with them back then, I probably would be like a little twig, bro. Like I probably would have been I don't know. I would have had no aspirations, no ambition of anything in my life. I've gained so many more things physically and mentally and emotionally too. Emotionally, it was really fucking emotional toll on this too. I was fucking distraught when that happened, man. I was fucking distraught. But it taught me so many fucking lessons that I probably would have never learned if I didn't lose all my friends, if I didn't move to a different school, if I didn't move to a different city and have to experience all of those losses. I would have never won. I would have never gained anything from that. I probably wouldn't even be the same person I am today. So whenever you think you're losing something, whenever you think something like you think you lose something very dearly to you, something most important in your life, dude. If you lose anything that's important to you in your life, and you think you lost, brother, take time to reflect. Take time to take what happened to you and try to see what you're feeling, man. Like search deep in your soul, search deep in your mind. Sit alone in a room and just like stare at a wall. Just lay down and stare at a wall. That's what I usually do when I'm in like situations like that's what I did today. Just sit in a wall and just think, man, like what can this teach me? What did that teach me? What did those things I went through genuinely teach me? And that's what I thought. I was like, damn, dude, I'm going through a similar situation, but now I have the knowledge. Now I have the ambition. Now I don't really feel as like I'm so lost in this life, even though I have no friends, even though I feel like sometimes I might be not, even though sometimes I might feel lonely, genuinely, sometimes I might feel just lonely. But the fact that I've already went through it, I've already lost it, and I already know what I have to do now to be able to move on to the next step, just keep going, doing what I'm doing. It genuinely taught me a very valuable lesson, brother, and I genuinely think I have not lost anything from that point. I've said a lot. I said that I lost it all back then. This is what I thought, but now, like, thinking about it, reflecting on it now, I've lost nothing. I've only gained from that. Anything you lose in your life is not a loss. Nothing is a loss in this life. Everything that happens to your life is either a win or a lesson. Nothing you're losing out of it. You're losing nothing. Anything you lose, you're winning on it. So, taking that and like engraving that into your brain, engraving that into your soul, brother. Like I'm telling you, if anything happens in your life, if you lose your job, if you lose a loved one, if you lose your home, if you lose anything that's valuable to you, if you lose anything that you held dearly to you, genuinely take time to think that what you're going through, you can learn a lesson from it. You can learn a lesson from it that when it happens, if it ever happens again, you'll be able to adapt to it. You'll be able to learn from it. You'll be able to move past it. You'll be able to fix whatever is happening if it ever happens again. Or you might learn how to fix it, the problem right now, if you're going through it for the very first time. Like I went through it the very first time 2 years ago. I managed to learn how to fix the problem, how to move past the problem. I've managed to become a better man from that. Genuinely, I became a better man, a way better man from that, dude. If you just genuinely take the time to think, like, adjust your mindset. This is why I created this channel. I'm documenting this to myself. I'm documenting it to you, brother. We're adjusting our mindset, tweaking it to where we can become better men, to where we can achieve our dreams, brother. That was the whole point. That was the whole point of that happening to me. It was to change how I thought about this. Anything that happens is to change how you think about different sorts of things. No matter how drastic, no matter how unfair, no matter how devilish, how diabolical, look, something like that happens to you is like genuinely, like something like from like shit hit the fan. It could be the worst thing that ever happened in your life. If you genuinely take time to just reflect and learn and adapt to what's going on in your life, your mindset will change, and you'll be able to gain astronomical levels of like mental knowledge, fucking physical knowledge, even like let's say something happens, let's say you go through a breakup or something, and you just like get mad and you start hitting the gym, and you start getting big, you thought you lost like someone you loved, you thought you lost a girlfriend, and you're fucked, and then you end up seeing you have a better body. See, that's what also happened to me too. Back then when I was in middle school, probably like 7th, 8th grade, I lost a girl I thought I was gonna be with my whole life, but obviously looking at it now, it was very immature. But I thought I lost it all back then, and that's when I started hitting the gym, and that's when I started, feeling as if like I'm actually accomplishing something. There's so many things that happen in our lives that we think we lost, but after you take time to reflect, after you take time to get past it, after you take time to go through it again, if it ever comes down to it again, you'll realize that you've actually not lost anything at all. All that's happened is you gained something out of it. You gained the lesson. You learned something. You adjusted your mind. You became a better man. You became a better woman. You became a better person. And that's probably one of the most important things we need to take into consideration when we like try to move to the top of this life, you know, try to make 10K a month, try to start a business, try to start anything in your life that you want to accomplish for your dream. You need to take into your mind that, engrave that into your fucking mind, brother. Engrave that shit into your mind. Please engrave that. That whenever you think you lose something, you actually are gaining a lesson, bro. You're either winning something or you're learning a lesson from it. Nothing's a loss. Please keep that into your mind. Engrave that shit. Nothing is a loss. Nothing. Nothing that happens is a loss, brother. Anything that happens, you're winning something out of it. Please, brother, think of that. You know, there might be a time again where something like even worse than what's going on through you right now, if you're going through a hard time. Genuinely, like I thought, whenever I think something horrible and it can't get worse and this happens in life, it somehow gets worse sometime later. It gets fucking worse. It's never gonna be the worst thing that happens in your life, you know. There's always gonna be something that you think that happens is the worst thing, and something even worse happens. Like, even if something worse that happens, you already have the knowledge from what happened back then, that you know that even though you're going through the worst fucking time of your life right now, you'll still be able to, you know, gain a lesson from that. And you know that what's going on through you right now is not a loss. It's not a loss. Nothing's a loss. You're winning either way. Either you're winning something or you're learning a lesson. That's something that, you know, has been able to push me past a lot of things that happened in my life, brother. A lot of things, you know. How I switched schools, how I lost all my friends, how I lost my girlfriend. You know, there was even a point in my life that I genuinely thought I was gonna, you know, I was getting really bad grades in my school. My parents didn't trust me. And I thought I was gonna move back to Brazil, you know. I'm living in America right now, but I'm from Brazil. And I genuinely thought I was going to get sent back because of how untrustworthy I was to my parents. You know, how bad of a kid I was. I used to do every horrible thing in the book. I was a horrible kid. I used to be vaping all the time in the bathrooms and stuff. I used to be getting horrible grades. I didn't even care about school. I used to I got suspended. I used to get referrals all the time. You know, I was never a good kid in my younger times. And, you know, I thought I lost everything, but nowadays, I'm a great kid at school, you know. I'm getting good grades. I'm building this business with you guys, you know. We're building this together. I'm taking college classes. You know, I'm becoming a better man, you know. I'm not planning on staying in college forever, you know what I'm saying? I'm obviously focusing on this business more, but, you know, academic wise, you know, as for comparison, I became such a better person from like learning what happened back then, how fucked up I was and how much I fucked up by you know, just not doing anything that's hard, just not taking the time to do anything that actually has to be done. You know, I was so lazy and I just took the easier and safer route of just like having fun right now, you know. Oh, I want to have fun right now, or I want to do anything I want, but I have to do what works. And that's the lesson I learned back then. I have to do what works. And because of what happened, because I thought I lost it all back then, I managed to engrave that into my brain and my soul, and I managed to become a better man. And that's why I'm making this video now too. Anything that happens in your life that you learned a lesson from, it will mold you into who you are today. All the things that happened into my life and taught me that I learned a lesson from. It's the reason I'm recording here today. It's the reason I'm here today talking about this, you know. Anything that happens in your life is a win. Nothing is a loss, brother. Nothing. I want to keep reiterating that because it's just something that so many people take for granted, you know. I feel like many people these days, you know, everyone thinks when something bad happens and they just panic and they don't know what to do and they think it's like, oh my God, it's like it's the end of the world. Men, just sit there and reflect. Like, I can learn something from this. I can learn how to adapt to the situation. I can learn how to move past it. No one ever tries to move past it. They just bottle it up or hide from it or run away from the problems they're facing. You have to face these problems. Do something else. Nothing's a loss. It's only a loss if you make it a loss too. Because if you don't learn anything from what's going on in your life, if you just run away from your problems, you hide from them, you know, with whatever case it may be, just games or fucking smoking or drinking, whatever shit. Like, if you don't actually face your problems head on, you're never going to learn the lesson. You wasted your time, you know. You wasted your time. You face this problem, you're hiding for nothing, man. You have to face the problem head on, and you have to take the lesson that you learn from whatever happens. It's the only way you're going to grow in this life. by learning lessons and by trial and error and by becoming just a better person with these lessons when it comes on to it again, you know. And that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about, you know. I just genuinely took a time to reflect to myself, you know. I was like, damn, bro. I journaled all of it. I was like, damn, bro. Like everything that's happened in my life so far, from when I was a kid all the way to now, you know, it's molded me to who I am today. I learned all the lessons. Maybe some I didn't. Maybe some I fucked up for sure. But a lot of lessons I learned. A lot of lessons I'm gonna keep learning. The better man I'm gonna become. We're all gonna fulfill our mission together, brother. Peace.